Hi, here. All right, let's get this started. I'm gonna have a few tweets. I'm gonna show that P.F. Jung video I've been meaning to show. It's about 10 minutes, and I'll go over a little bit of that, and then I will put the link, and we'll do our panel. Um, the biggest news is Trump's cabinet picks. I'm kind of just ignoring all that for now. It's speculation. The confirmation hearings are going to be political theater and mostly noise. Okay, we have a tweet from David Cray. When people post comments using the word degeneracy, I hear this a lot on YouTube. They are giving away that they are religious fanatics who despise humanity, human sexuality, even humor. The only joy they allow is religious fervor and shaming others. They are the original scolds, as bad as the woke. I've never experienced them that way, at least on here on YouTube. But I do pause and question. Like I know, first of all, I am a degenerate. I don't care. I embrace it. I'm a hedonist. I'm a Satanist. But I don't find them as scoldy as the woke. I would much prefer the degeneratards over the woke. But anyway, there it is. There's the tweet. Wilfred Riley says cultural appropriation is an insanely stupid idea. Yes. Cajun culture would not even exist without cultural appropriation, because we take a little bit from whatever cultures we find and we synthesize it into our own unique culture. And then people come along and appropriate our shit. Rules are fake. We all fought and learned from each other. You can do stuff if you've learned how and want to. And then let's see. Okay, I also want to show this. This is a tweet, I'm assuming it's legit, from Cincinnati area therapist. This is what mental health is turning into. It's because of the wokeness, it's turning away from what's called humanistic person-centered therapy, where you show up and the therapist helps you work on your goals and your problems and your issues or whatever you come there to get help with, to a more social justice oriented form of therapy, where it's activism is therapy. The goal is to get the clients, all of the problems the clients are experiencing are oppression, it's internalized oppression, and to get them motivated to become activists to fight against whatever external system they're being coached to perceive is responsible for their oppression. So I want to give an example of that from hey Moose, woke joke. Yes, it is. It would be funny if it weren't so serious. Tatiana, hello. So let me show you what modern mental health looks like. And I'm going to drop a link to an organization called Critical Therapy Antidote that I was a part of during. It formed in 2020, and it's a network of therapists, mental health professionals, even clients. Anybody that has a stakeholder in mental health can join. And it was formed to kind of fight back against this activist type of therapy and keep therapy person-centered and humanistic. So here's an example from Cincinnati area therapists. These are therapists now that wrote this, I presume. Checking in on all of us. I am not okay today, and I don't know when I will be. Today was so hard, but we are heroes showing up for social justice. We will carry the collective weight of this outcome for the foreseeable future. Mobilize your clients. Speak out and speak up. Be the safe but catalyzing, spelled completely wrong. These are therapists with college degrees. Catalyzing space for humanity. Maybe it means they have like a bunch of cats running around the office. Please make sure to take care of yourself along the way. Modern therapy, y'all. So if you need actual humanistic, like I'm not a therapist, but I'm a mental health professional, I just happen to have you covered. Contact me through my website. Here it is. Speaking of catalyzers. Oh yeah, look, she's already. posting it. Oh, you cry. I hope it's not a bad cry. Uh-oh. Oh no, I have a stalker. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so those are the tweets. Now there's this P.F. Jung video that he put out a few days ago or so that I've been wanting to get through. I'm playing it for, oh wait, there's another story. I forgot. This is a fun story. It just came across my feed. There were some people in North Carolina that faked a bear attack on their car, and then they reported to the insurance company that their car got attacked by a bear so they could get the oh wait, that's not you? Do we have a moose impersonator? They're doing a good job. It fooled me. Yeah, you're boring. Bye, Sam. I notice you've been stalking me more and more lately. You can't get enough, huh? Banning you for your trolling really gave you a complex. It really tipped your hand about how important this channel actually is to you. You fucked it up yourself. You even had a wrench at one point. It turns out it was somebody in a bear costume. They got an entire bear costume and put it on and faked this bear attack. So let's watch this video.
Surveillance video shows what looks like a bear
Look
breaking
at this. This is
into
a person
Rolls
in
Royce
a costume
and tearing up the interior. But after closer inspection, investigators determined it was nothing more than a man
look that
in a bear suit.
that gives it away.
Now
Look at all that
4
loose
men
skin
are
hanging off that
for
bear.
Insurance fraud
Look at those
after
little
they
human
used
legs
the video
kicking
to
around.
place a claim to make matters
That's
worse.
hilarious.
Well, detectives found
It's not
two
even like,
additional
is that,
insurance
look, they have the
claims
liquor
with
bottle.
2 different insurance companies
How
on
much
the same
could they
date
get
of
for this
loss
car? I don't
and
know
at the
cars
same
that well.
location.
It doesn't
In total,
look that fancy.
insurance companies were defrauded of more than $141,000. Detectives executed a search warrant at the home of one of the suspects and found the tattered bear suit complete with metal claws.
Oh, fuck.
In a Rolls?
In a Rolls.
In a Rolls.
Oh, this is Rolls.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know cars. So anyway, there's that to brighten up your day. She'll eat you like a bear. Okay, I want to get to this P.F. Jung video. It's just about under 10 minutes. And the reason I'm showing it, the most important reason, is because he pretty much articulates the same thing I've been trying to on here about how we put together reality in the form of narratives. We pick and choose our facts, not always even with awareness. And we fit them into an existing story that keeps our reality, our predictive model going. Now, at the end, he does turn to Israel as an example, and I'm going to say Paul and I don't see completely eye to eye on the Israel question, and I've had that debate here plenty of times with many people, so I don't really want to rehash it, but it is in the video, and I'm going to still show it for completeness and out of respect to Paul. All right, let's take a look at how reality is made, the tales we tell ourselves.
Oftentimes when people engage in historical
Oh, it has
revisionism, it's not
destiny in it. I
because they've
apologize.
discovered some fact that's truly perplexing to them. It's because they've got some thought or idea or moral belief right now that requires them to rewrite the past in order to make the present more acceptable. All the revisionism that you hear is always stuff that somehow conveniently ties to what's going on today. It always has to be that way, because the revisionism isn't born out of any sort of historical analysis. It's always born out of the need to justify or grant some, moral claim to something going on today.
It's obviously the case that dishonest actors can make up or distort historical facts to advance a lie. Many Israelis and Palestinians do it all the time. But what the controversial left-wing streamer Destiny does not yet seem to realize is that technically everyone is a historical revisionist.
Yes.
And people like Daryl Cooper actually make some important points. What you have to understand is that there is no such thing as an objective account of history.
Right.
Because there's no such thing as an objective account of anything.
Well, people say, well, the person on the other side of the ideological continuum has different opinions than I do. It's like, no, they don't. Or maybe they do. But they don't see the same facts, because the filter they use to select from among the infinite number of available facts preferentially presents them with the facts that are relevant to them. And so one of the horrible things about political discussions is that you're actually having a discussion about what the facts are. And you say, well, the facts are the same for everyone. It's like, yeah. It's like saying, I have an infinite library of books, and you can come into it. It's like, well, you're going to pick out the same book? Seems highly improbable. And that's the problem with facts. It's like, there's a lot of them.
This infinite library thought experiment is so goddamn useful it's hard to articulate. It helps us identify a fundamental flaw that plagues many people on the left and the right. For example, conservative opponents of critical race theory will endlessly...
He's framing it as a flaw that plagues people. I would say this is just how the human brain works. It's not a flaw. This is the hardware that we are born with. Our brain, what we're conscious of is our brain and body is taking in way more than we're conscious of. It feeds us a selection of that. It like breaks it down. It packages up in a nice little story that we can process to keep our like sense of self running, our continuity. Internal continuity going. So this is not an aberration or some pathological anomaly. I think this is just the epistemological norm, the cognitive norm of the human brain.
Repeat something to the effect of, for example, conservative opponents of critical race theory will endlessly repeat something to the effect of, don't teach my kids propaganda, just teach them the facts. But here's the problem.
Which facts are you going to pick?
There
How are you
are
going to select them?
historical facts,
There's,
like events.
There's an infinite
happen.
number of them, even in a constrained situation. So merely by attending to some and not attending to others, you're already using an ethic.
Why exactly do most Americans watching this know all about the Boston Massacre, in which a total of 5 people died, but almost no Americans watching this know anything about the Cambodian genocide, in which 3 million people died? It's not because the Boston Massacre is objectively more historically significant, clearly it's not. It's because any telling of history necessarily excludes an infinite amount of potentially relevant facts.
Right.
We don't study history to get an objective account of the past. We study history so we can tell stories and
Yes.
narratives that have pragmatic utility today.
All the revisionism that you hear is
Yes, there's history is like this one giant story, and we can only ever tell smaller stories within that larger story. We don't have the brain. Maybe the AI at some point will be able to, but humans don't have the brain capacity to absorb the entire story of humanity everywhere, all over the globe, all at once. And we watched that. King Crocoduck was on Benjamin Boyce a while back, and he covered the Israeli-Jewish question, and he made the point that history is not a sequence of events. That's chronology, he calls it. History or historiography is when you take those sequence of events and you place them into a story, you place them into a context, you place them into a narrative framework. This is the kind of stuff
it's always
that we're
stuff
talking
that
about.
somehow conveniently ties to what's going on today. It's always born out of the need to justify or grant some, moral claim to something going on today.
And this is why it's beyond foolish to believe anyone who tells you there's a clear objective truth about any period in
I don't
history.
think anything human
Which is one of the big
related.
things I argue for Israel-Palestine. The reason why that
Physical world,
history is so
maybe.
contested is because a lot of the moral claims that both sides make today about how their conduct is rooted in their historical, telling of events.
You try to do something like untangle the Israel-Palestine conflict. I mean, one of the things you just to start with is like, okay, how far back are you going to go? Well, I would say it depends on what argument you want to make. If you want to make argument A, you go back 100 years. If you want to make argument B, you go back 3,000 years. And then you could have an argument about which time scale you should use, but it's not like it's obvious. Is it 10 years? Is it 1 year? Is it 6 months? It's not 3,000 years. Is it 2,999 years? Where are the borders of relevancy when you're laying out the landscape of the argument?
They're determined.
All accounts of history are
Subjective.
motivated by the pragmatic utility those stories provide today. And the most important stories, by any reasonable standard,
Based
are the
pragmatism.
stories that facilitate large-scale social cooperation among human beings. The stories at the base of civilization, what we call mythology.
We have talked about, I did a whole, when I went over that Northrop Frye essay and the two types of stories and types of thinking, there's like the mythological version and then the more logical, rational version developed later from that. It was a historical development that developed out of the mythological. So they weren't concurrent. And the mythological type of thinking is more about stories that give meaning to our lives and hold a society together, and less about understanding the world as it is. And then the second type is about understanding the world as it is. So most of us, we mythologize everything. Like humans, we're mythological beings. We cannot live without some form of storytelling to ourselves that's more myth-based than reality-based.
Why do we study the Boston Massacre and not the Cambodian genocide? Because the Boston Massacre is part of the broader American mythology that we use to orient our values. The Constitution wouldn't be sacred if there wasn't a mythology around it. And whether you're a Daily Wire shill, a globalist transhumanist, or a secret Nazi apologist, no one disputes the overwhelming political significance of these unifying stories.
We see the world of facts through something that when described as a story, because we have to prioritize our perceptions, we have to prioritize facts. And as far as I can tell, a story is a verbal account of how our perceptions and the facts that we encounter are prioritized.
If you examine any large-scale human corporation, you always find fiction as its basis. It's a fictional story that holds lots of strangers together.
And whenever you have a historical event that is mythologized, and when I say that, I don't mean myth like that's a myth, that's a lie. That's not what I mean. I mean that it's a formative part of how we all understand the world we're in, or at least officially, like the official world, like that's
the structures we live in.
It's the justification for a lot of those structures, right?
So now that you understand that the history that you've learned is definitely not objective, but simply part of a broader mythology, and there is no objective truth about any given historical period, it's time to get to the uncomfortable part of the video.
Wait. Are you a Nazi?
I am. Gay Nazi here.
There are people that deny the atrocities committed by Germany during World War II, and these people are what we call the R word. And even though Daryl Cooper obviously does not fit into this category, the fact that he refuses to publicly debate someone on a topic he was willing to talk to Tucker Carlson about means he's worth regarding with serious suspicion. However, even a broken clock can be right twice a day. The point that Daryl Cooper is correct about is that American mythology very clearly biases itself towards a telling of history in which the United States are the archetypal good guys. And that is clearly not the case. You do not have to be an ideologically possessed critical race theorist to acknowledge that the United States, like all countries, makes decisions that serve its geopolitical interests more so in the pursuit of justice. Obviously, those two things can align, like when we beat the shit out of Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan, but we also allied with the Soviet Union to do it, who were objectively worse than either Nazi Germany or Imperial Japan. And given what the United States did in Dresden, or with the firebombing of Tokyo, or the pardoning of literally the most horrible human beings on the face of the planet.
Read about Unit 731. That was a Japanese medical unit in China. You read about Unit 731 and then come and tell me you don't believe hell is real.
It's clear that we're better than Nazis, but that doesn't mean we're the good guys. It's sort of like the Imperium of Man in Warhammer 40k. Like, are they better than Chaos?
Like
yes.
I would pick us.
Does that make them the good guys?
A lot of other.
No. I am not saying that the United States should not operate in its geopolitical interests. And even though I very much disagree with the United States getting involved in more foreign wars, I would be lying if I did not acknowledge that there are perfectly reasonable arguments for providing military aid to Ukraine or Israel. But what I will not do is waste my time entertaining these pseudo-moralistic arguments about how the United States is maintaining a moral, rules-based liberal order or supporting democracy in the Middle East, especially when the evidence for those claims seems increasingly weak.
Support
Israel identifies as a Western democracy.
Oh, really?
It's a Western country supported by the U.S.
Thank you so much for telling me what Israel identifies as. That's fabulous. Do me a favor. Don't sell me that old line like, we're the only democracy in the Middle East. Like, we have some Western elements. We have some democratic elements in our country, but this is a Middle East country that needs to survive in the Middle East. Also, we're not an American style country, since we are not a democracy for all its people, but a national ethnic state. So therefore, we're much more like Middle East countries. Okay, this is a region. I'm not here to be way better than the Arabs. That's a total like American Jewish like mythology that has been created. That's not my attitude at all. My attitude is survival. I'm here to survive, and I'm here to push back against bad guys.
The point that I am making is not that we should ignore objective historical facts. Facts exist, and it's important to be as educated as possible about what really happened in the past. The point that I am making is that no matter how many facts you acquire, you will never be able to assemble those facts into anything approaching a objective historical account. Instead, you should look at the deeper underlying psychological patterns that motivate.
I have said so many times. Hang on. I have said over and over and over that politics is psychology turned inside out, and all the discussions we have on here is about usually what happened to us in our childhood.
That motivate the very histories that we concern ourselves with. As the British feminist Annie Besant said, a myth is far truer than a history. For a history only gives a story of the shadows, whereas a myth gives a story of the substances that cast the shadows. In other words, archetypes, baby. Until next time, good luck and Godspeed.
Good night and good luck. Okay. There's that. And so basically quit having stupid arguments on here. Let's go deeper. This is all surface stuff. All right, I'm going to catch up on comments, and then I will... Here, let me drop the link. I wonder if this Tatiana is a troll, or if it's really Tatiana. You know what? I could check. I think it's Tatiana. I want to believe it's Tatiana. Let's see. All right, the link should be pinned. Yeah, that's Tatiana. All right. Okay. Hey, Daniel Barry, happy Thursday. Would be a stream without you. Wait, Chuck, is that, are you, I saw that story, but I thought it was The Onion, like a spoof, like The Onion pretending to buy InfoWars to make a satirical point. They actually bought InfoWars? Oh my God. Reality is collapsing. You mean, gonna turn it into a parody channel? Hey, Plasma, Bex, Ricardo. What's going on with you and Moose? He wasn't even here yesterday. We're all Nazis. Didn't you see the Nazi rally that Trump had at Madison Square Garden? It was full of Nazis. Gay Nazis, black Nazis, Jewish Nazis, probably some trans Nazis, Hispanic Nazis. It was like a whole rainbow of Nazis. Oh, you mean this guy? That's Baphomet. Are you talking about our community guidelines? I personally don't think my expectations here are that hard for most psychologically mature adults that have made it through kindergarten to understand, unless you meant the part about like stop having dumb arguments. Moose is one of our mods, one of our community members. He's one of our core people. The Moose. Okay, the chat's open. The link should be pinned. Okay, here's what I'm doing. Here's I think my new plan. I'm going to try this out for a while. YouTube limits the type of goals I can set. So I set one for $25, but I'm actually going to I'll accept $20. I'll keep this going for 2 hours. If I get $20 within that 2 hours, I'll keep it going another hour or so, and we can go from there. So if I can get about $20 a day for now, I'll take it. I will count memberships. I will count super chats. You can buy memberships for other people. I will count Ko-Fi donations. I will count Cash App. I will count all of that toward the 20. So it doesn't necessarily have to be just super chats. But for YouTube purposes, I set it at $5 super chats, which is actually $25. But if I get any combination of $20 before that, I think maybe this is my naivete or me like misreading my audience. I think a lot of them are. I've seen it happen. Not everybody, and there's different degrees. Like everybody to the extent that they're able. But I have seen people at least attempt to push themselves and kind of peel a few layers off and go beneath the surface to the archetypes. I don't know if this is not a panel for the average Joe though. I don't know what the average Joe is even doing here. This is the outliers. This is it's a combination of the short bus and the long bus. All right. In the meantime, let me see if I have some water. Have my coffee. Yeah, but he doesn't. A lot of that's on Jack because he doesn't follow through on the expectations he sets. Like he sets a certain he sets a certain amount of like a certain type of standard for the panel, but I don't know if he always follows it. Well, welcome, Average Joe. I think most of the Joes we have here are very above average. But if Average Joe is out there, you're as welcome here as anybody else, as long as you can follow the community guidelines, which are linked in the description, and not cause drama, and be able to have a conversation. Other people have to be able to hear each other and talk. Okay. What was I about to do? I don't remember. Oh, AI. I was seeing if I have any interesting AI chats going. Not really. I haven't needed the AI lately. Hey, Jeff, how are you? Are you at work or are you chilling at home? No, the drunk. I yesterday was my birthday, so I was a little bit looser with the rules. But I think the drunk Brit evasion is over for now, or it's going to be in very limited, targeted doses. Mainly for the reason of what I just said, of being able to have the conversation flow in a way that it can be helpful to people watching and participants. But the drunk Brits can be entertaining, but this is more than just an entertainment channel. So maybe we can have a drunk Brit night every now and then, but I don't want it to be a regular thing. Part of what happens, though, is that when there's a content void like there is right now, they come and fill it. So if I want the good to drive out the bad. So if we have more quality conversations, more people that want to come talk about philosophy or mental health, neurodivergence, how to help each other become better people, how to build community, then that's not going to leave a lot of room for these other type of conversations. But until that happens, those conversations tend to fill in the void that's left here, which is just me monologuing. So that's how you get a little bit of the drunk Brits. That's how you get a little bit of the drama. that shows up here. But as soon as there's a more elevated conversation, that all goes by the wayside. You know, the like growing up, you did the experiment where you took a cup of water or a bowl and you sprinkled black pepper in it, and then you put a little drop of dishwashing detergent, and all the black pepper would push to the side. It's like that. Like whenever there's a higher level conversation, it's like that little drop of dawn, the dawn light breaking, and then it pushes all the black pepper and spice to the side. Man, I really strained that analogy, but you get it. Oh, another Scorpio, happy birthday. We love our Scorpios here. I love everybody, you know that, but especially Scorpios. Those are the most Gen X of the signs, in my opinion. Are y'all having drama? Are y'all still together? Speaking of voids and what fills it in, we're seeing it right now. Well, if you are still together, or even if you're not, you didn't spell his name right. Okay, look, this guys, I don't want this taking up the whole chat today. Y'all are gonna have to go fight it out on Discord, or like Ricardo said, some other low-grade drama channel. I just got talking about how I want a little something higher on this one. Y'all are still talking? Okay. And we do have Drama Court. I mean, if y'all want to scrape together $100, I can try to Dr. Phil the thing. Or we can have a little Oprah session. All right. Well, in the meantime, I guess I will sit here and wait for the panel to show up. Hop on if you want to. This is when it's slow like this and there's no content. This is your chance to set the content for the rest of the stream until somebody shows up and displaces it. Except no drama. I don't want a lot of the drama. This is not a drama channel. I don't know. I had pasta this morning, and after the stream is over, I have to go out to the store and shop. So I'll decide from there. It'll probably be some frozen crap. Maybe some more pasta. Who knows? A bag of potato chips. Drama therapy. Now there's a thought. There is psychodrama. I've been wanting to. There's these role playing games from Scandinavia called. I was thinking that too. The fries. I was thinking that called Jeep Form. I think they're out of Denmark, Sweden, and it's kind of role playing, like Dungeons and Dragons type role playing, but you kind of incorporate your personal life and other players take on the role of people in your story, and it's kind of it mixes a little bit of psychodrama into regular role playing, and I've always wanted to explore the potential of that for drama therapy. At my last job, just before I got fired, which was 3 days before the COVID lockdown, one of the projects I was working on with the coworker was putting on we were going to start a psychodrama group and start exploring psychodrama. Okay, well, we have some content. I asked for it. I got it.
Boom. What's
Boom.
up? Were you talking about me? I wasn't listening.
It's a slow day.
Yeah, it's wild. I'll tell you, it's funny. I'm not sure how the weather is up where you're at, but in Virginia, it's weird because the people always say wait till the next day. Like it was like in the high 70s, and now it's like in the low 50s. And I get congested. I don't know if you ever get congested with the change in the weather.
Not really.
It's not allergies. It's almost like, I don't know. It's just weird.
That's what the people in Maine were going through that too. It was
Yeah.
like real warm, and then it suddenly turned cold the next day. I guess it's
like
an East Coast thing.
it's like a 30-degree spin. It's like 80
Wow.
and then it's like 50. I'm telling you, the next day, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And I'm not used to that. I'm used to New York weather, whether it's going to be hot in the summertime and it's going to be cold in the winter, but it doesn't flip 30 degrees every single day. It just doesn't do that, where I grew up. But Virginia's like that. I don't know if it's like the Southern thing. I don't know what it is. I guess we're cursed with crazy weather. I don't know what it is. Yeah,
I remember that cartoon. I used to watch with Uni, the little unicorn. I was a big D&D nerd, and I was so excited when that cartoon came out, and it was such a letdown. It was nothing
You
like
remember,
a real D&D game.
you remember that cartoon, My Little Pony?
Were you a brony? I think that was after my generation.
Yeah,
But I remember the bronies. They said they're bringing it back. They're like making a My Little Pony another movie.
Remember the song "My Little Pony, My Little Pony"?
No, I'm proud to say I don't.
Yeah, I was always a GI Joe guy. I loved watching GI Joe. I actually have all of the GI Joe seasons on DVD. I'll show them to you if you want. I mean, I bought the whole, like all the seasons of GI. It was like $100 and something.
Are you talking about like the DVDs, the videos?
Yeah, like the cartoons. The cartoons. The GI Joe.
What year did that start? I remember like He-Man and She-Ra. Was it around the same time?
GI Joe should have been in the late '80s or mid '80s. I'd say mid '80s
because they had a whole crop of cartoons in the mid '80s, '83 to '86. They had He-Man, they had the Smurfs, they had the Dungeons and Dragons cartoons, and
I had.
There was like the next wave of cartoons from the ones we grew up with in the '70s, the Hanna-Barbera stuff.
I got into He-Man. And then I had the Battle Armor He-Man. So you have He-Man, right? And his chest has a roller on it. And the more you hit it, the more damage it gets. It spins. It was called Battle Armor He-Man.
Let me look at
it. I'm telling you,
it was a separate He-Man from the regular He-Man?
It was He-Man, but it was Battle Armor He-Man, where he had a circular thing in his chest. You hit it.
Oh, yeah, we had that. We had He-Man and Battle Cat, Cringer, and we had the Castle Grayskull thing. I remember him now.
And then I was really, really big into Voltron. You remember Voltron? The cats that came together and built. I had that. I had Battle Armor
and his
He-Man.
sword was split, and Skeletor like had a half, and you could put it together and make the sword of power. And when you hit him in the chest, it would spin around. Look how disproportionate he looks, though. I don't remember him being this freakish.
Looks weird. But yeah, I was really into Voltron. The cats, the 5 cats that came together and they formed Voltron. It was.
Was that the? Wait, was that the Transformer? Wait, I vaguely remember. They were like 4. Was it like the Power Rangers? They were.
It was 5. It was 5 cats, and they would run and they would come together and form this big robot.
But it wasn't the Thundercats. Let me look them up. I remember something like that.
It was Voltron. And the one that I had, and my dad bought it for me for Christmas, and I remember it was like $80.
I don't remember.
And because it was metal, it wasn't the plastic one. So they made a plastic Voltron. This was the original metal one. And dude, the thing is worth a fortune if you still had it like intact today, because collectors want that, the original metal Voltron. But it was 5 cats. It was a cat on each leg, a cat on each arm, and then it was the middle cat in the middle, a black cat in the middle. But it was just cool. These were just cool cartoons. Voltron.
Yeah, I remember this thing. It had the little dungeon.
Yeah. But I remember growing up, we watched Thundercats all the time. And then Thundercats. But He-Man was by the power of Grayskull. And then he put the sword in front of his face.
Thank you, Philip. This is excellent. Philip's helping us go deep. I said I want to go deeper with our conversation. How did He-Man influence you as a person today, or any of these toys? How did G.I. Joe make you the man you are today?
G.I. Joe made me want to be more of a hero, more of a helping person. Because remember, military members give the ultimate sacrifice. So I had a choice at a high school. I had a choice to go into the military or go into law enforcement. And I went into law enforcement when I was very young, when I was, 19, 20 years old.
19.
Yeah. Well, so you can go in the military. You can go in the military at 16 in Vietnam. You have to have a waiver from your parents, but you can't be a police officer carrying a firearm until you're 20 and a half. That's
I
back
remember
then.
growing up, they had like this ride, like younger
Yeah.
kids could go ride with the
Yeah.
cops and like on patrol. It was like a ride with the and then that would like
Right along.
transition them to be a cop or a
Yes.
deputy something later if they wanted to. And
So
my sister's first boyfriend did that.
I did a ride along one time, and I was messing because we have what's called cadets. So a cadet is a high school kid or somebody under 21 that wants to be an officer. So they're a cadet, but they cannot carry a firearm, not till you're 21.
So this is like, so they do have something for younger people that can still get their foot in the door.
But I remember just messing with them, going, I'm gonna crash, because I was a ball buster back in the day, and they had so much fun. But no, the cadets, Hampton Police Department has a big cadet program. They let them ride around in a cadet vehicle with red and blue lights, but they cannot carry a firearm because they're not 21. But you have to be 21. 20, I think they change it. Back in the day, it was 20 and a half, 20 years and 6 months. Then you can start carrying it, but you can't go on the street yet. You have to be 21 to be an actual police officer in Virginia. I don't know how it is in different states, but that's how it is in Virginia. But the crazy thing is this. You can send a 16 or 17-year-old in to fight a war, but you can't be a cop until you're 21. So I think that it's a morality issue, because I worked in private security. So if you're a private security or you're a PI, you can carry a firearm and have legal arrest powers at 19. And I'm sorry, but a 19-year-old shouldn't be running around arresting people. I just don't think they're ready for that.
I guess it does. It goes by local, like it's different from region to region. I guess
And
whatever fits the needs of that. There was this. He was a bouncer at the gay bar, the local gay bar, and he was this young deputy sheriff, and he was like bisexual or something. Everybody thought he was hot, and he would show up in his deputy uniform and help out with the security. Then he was like 19, or he could not have been more than 20.
Dude, in my 20s, I'm telling you, in my 20s, in my uniform, I got pictures. I'll show you pictures of me in my 20s. Dude, I was a good-looking guy back then. Like, a younger guy, very big.
I want to see pictures. You have them?
Let me try. Let me try to find.
Okay, and then I'll answer this cartoon question in the meantime. Philip, I think the opposite, and I'll tell you why. We had Schoolhouse Rock. That did nothing but help. You can see the difference in the millennial and the Generation Z, the ones that did not have Schoolhouse Rock for the ones that did. Also, a lot of our cartoons were more like morality plays where there were very clear black and white good guys and bad guys. Well, not that they had good guys and they had bad guys, and it was very black and white and well defined. And they very much made you want to be one of the good guys. Except for the Laugh Olympics, they had that Team Evil, and I always liked with like Mowgli, the dog. I always thought I'd make a good teammate on that team. Sasquatch.
I love the Laugh Olympics. Muttley,
Muttley, that's his name.
One of my dogs after Muttley, because this dog was an absolute fruit job. Have you ever? Okay, you've heard of a black lab, a yellow lab, a chocolate lab. This dog was a meth lab. This dog would run and bark and run and run and run and run, and then eventually he'd stop and just look over at you and just kind of fall over and be asleep. Just be asleep. But sometimes he would trip people. It was the stupidest, most hilarious joke ever, because he'd be like walking down the hall in front of a group of my friends, and he'd just like scooch his butt over and short shank somebody's shin. They'd trip, and then he'd sit down and go. That dude would hit the ground, look over, and be like, "Is that dog laughing at me?" And I'd be like, "Yes, it is."
Yeah, so like I think on balance they helped us, but then you did have things like Laugh Olympics. That we were Gen X though.
Well,
that was a very Gen X cartoon.
There were very clear good and bad, but at the same time there were plot holes and plot.
Because they had what, like 3 or 4 teams? It wasn't just 2 teams.
Well, there would be 3 teams that were basically based off of your Saturday morning cartoons, and then there'd be 2 or 3 teams based off of the villains of the Saturday morning cartoons. And so it's clearly defined good and evil. And the evil people always lost because they always cheated, and they always cheated wrong.
Oh, I thought they won a few times. I never knew what team was going to win. Let's see this. Hang on.
All right, so I don't have a picture of me in uniform. My parents have those, but this is a picture of me when I graduated through the police academy, and then I went into, and I was 22 years old. Look at this picture.
Wait. What? Look at that little stash.
Dude, what the hell?
You look like you're cooking meth.
You might have to to jail for 5 years because you're selling dope on a corner, dude. That's right. No, I'm joking. I'm just playing.
Dude, look at that, man. Look at that mustache, man.
I know, you don't even look Italian.
That's a sweet stash.
You look like they might come and
You look
deport
like Meth Head Mario in that picture, dude.
Yeah. What year was that?
That was
80s?
That was that would have been 95.
Don't lie to me. It was June 4th,
okay.
1994. You were standing
and it was
outside.
Polaroid. It was when people were still using Polaroids.
Yeah, look at that, man. Look at that guy. Has his whole life in front of him. That was a sweet creeper stash, dude. That was the best stash ever. Dude, I had so when you worked, so now you can have a beard. Now, like if you work, you can have a beard if it's trimmed. But back then, you're not allowed to have a beard or a goatee. You had
We
to
could have the stash.
Wow,
Top stash because of the village people.
You could have a stash, but you could not. Yeah. But now the guys that I know, like my boy is still on, my friend is still on. He has a fucking looks like a freaking beard. It's like, but it has to be clean shaven. You can't have like the neck beard. It has to be like maintained. But they let them.
We want our cops to look sexy.
Check this out. Back in the day, you couldn't have tattoos, any visible tattoos. You could not. You were denied. You couldn't have any visible tattoos. So to this day, I still don't have one tattoo. But back then, if someone went through training and they had visible tattoos, we had a guy and he was really good. He was really, really good. So he had to wear arm sleeves. You know what arm sleeves are?
Yeah.
It's like the nylon.
Is it like just sleeves that you cover tattoos?
It's nylon that goes all the way down to your roots, to your shoulder.
Hold on. Have you ever seen a burn glove? Like when somebody gets a burn and they've got scar tissue on their arms and they put the glove on so the sun doesn't hit it. Anyway, it's basically the same thing as that, but it covers tattoos. Hypothetically, it's so that like gang members can't identify a cop when he's off duty or whatever. They cover tattoos.
That makes sense. Yeah. Can they have them now? Or they still have to?
They typically keep them covered. Different departments are different at this point. We've got a couple that have full sleeves and stuff, and if they work in the corrections system, they have to keep them covered. But if they're just out walking the street, it's fine. Yeah. Apparently.
Do you guys remember the spray-on tattoos? You can go to like a shop and get a fake tattoo with ink. But it washes off eventually.
I remember the little ones you get from the bubble gum that you wet.
Yeah.
That is the only tattoos I've ever had. I've never been interested in tattoos beyond that.
Well, gentlemen, I hate to ruin your opinion of my delicate sensibilities, but I do have a tattoo of Tigger on my left butt.
I love Tigger. Wow, that just made you cooler.
I am already so cool, dude. Listen, it was tattooed by a guy who looked just like Hagrid.
I think I've seen him on this panel.
No, I don't think so. Homie's like, he lives out in the middle of nowhere, and he used to be a fairly famous tattoo artist. And one day he got into an argument with his wife. His wife hit him with a full coffee carafe of cold coffee, broke it over his head. She went to jail. He sold the house and moved to some shack 30 miles outside of town over here. And as far as I know, he hasn't left since. But my baby mama has like 300 some change tattoos. He's the only person she will let put a needle to her. She called him up and was like, I'm bringing a friend over there. He said, no. She said, yes, I am, and hung up.
Who's
my
AFI?
My best friend, John, and it's funny because, we were all, I'm Christian now, but we're all Roman Catholics and stuff. We're all Italians. But he keeps getting more and more tattoos, and his mom is really old school. I love his mom. His mom is like it's like your second mom, right? You can go there and eat.
Yeah,
And
I
do
had a
whatever
lot
you
of
want.
those.
Yeah, and so he keeps getting more and more tattoos, and she's like giving him crap about it. And it's just funny. He just keeps getting more and more and more. People say tattoos are addictive. It's like an addiction.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
have friends that I don't even know where left on their body there is to put a tattoo, and they're always posted pictures of their latest tattoo. They have like hundreds of tattoos.
He's got his whole chest, both of his arms, legs. Now, the one thing he doesn't do, which I agree with, and I'll tell you another story, he doesn't have any neck tattoos, right? So in other words, if he's fully clothed, you can't see them. Like I'm saying, if you have like a dress shirt on and dress pants on, you don't see them. But like I had a friend of mine, he went and got a neck tattoo of Jesus's praying hands.
On
and I'm
the
like,
neck?
bro, yeah, on his neck. And I'm like, bro, that's the worst decision you're ever going to make because you can't hide that from a potential employer without foundation. Because
Well,
people
I have a question. Is there any part of the body where you could not get a tattoo? Where it's not like
No.
medically possible
No.
to tattoo?
I know people with tattoos just straight up their eyes.
eyelids. They can tattoo your
Yeah, oh
eyelids.
right, they tattoo makeup on.
Not just the lids. I mean the actual white part of their eye.
What?
Yes. I was like when she showed up and had one like entirely blue eye. She had blue eyes too. This is not good. She had one entirely blue eye. She was like, "Well, it took about 20 minutes, and I couldn't stand it enough to do the next one. I'm going back next week." And I was like,
I knew
their teeth. People probably do tattoo their teeth.
I knew a girl, right? I knew a girl, and I was dating this girl back in like my 30s, and she has green eyes. And then I saw her one morning, and they were brown. She was wearing those fake contacts, like to change their eye color. Remember those? They would put them in their like fake contacts to change your eye color.
Oh yeah,
And I'm
they
like,
used to. All the gothy, punky people used to have all the weird
And
contacts.
I was like, what the hell? Like it was just different. Like I didn't ever see her with a different.
I wanted
eye
glow
color.
in the dark contacts, like
Joe.
aliens had.
"Oh, it has to be blind forever." Like,
But I don't like fool. I don't think I could put a contact in my eye. I'm too
My
sweet. I don't like
friends-
fool with it.
My friend dated a girl, and she had one green eye and one blue eye. It was the weirdest shit I've ever seen, and it was natural. It wasn't-
Like David
It
Bowie.
wasn't even that unusual. Not really. I mean,
Yeah.
it's relatively
like-
common.
David Bowie had that. It's a condition. I forgot what it's
Yeah.
called.
There's a few people around. I know at least two people. One has a brown eye and a green eye.
Aniscoria. Aniscoria.
It's really striking.
Yeah. Then you have people, and it's funny because
Or
I think that I think our maker makes it, and I think those things are very unique, and I don't look at it as ugly. It's just different. You're not used to seeing those kinds of things.
I
You're
went
like,
to
whoa.
school with a friend of mine whose eye color was exactly the same color as his hair, and it was exactly the same color as the skin. Homie had an almost yellow eye. It was wild.
And yellow
bro.
skin.
Well, he was like Caribbean or something, so he wasn't.
Oh, like
per
a
se.
goldenish.
So it was like a weird gold kind of color, and his eye was the same way.
It's like my son, my son's mother and my son, they both have hazel eyes, and hazel eyes I think are beautiful. Like that hazel, that different pigment of eye. I think, and I think I really do think that eyes tell the tale of your soul. I think your eyes
They
really
say
dig.
that, but I don't want people
Yeah, I
staring.
believe it. I believe it. I believe when someone looks at you, eye to eye, I think you can read them.
Is that why you wear the hat and keep your face in shadow?
I do
Both
because
of
you don't
you
want to see me. Yeah, because I will die.
YouTube's not seeing inside my soul.
Yeah, if you saw my eyes, that would hypnotize you. You don't want to see them. But no. All jokes aside, no. I think that it is the gateway to your soul. I think that your eyes tell a story of what you've been through, what you're going through, what you're going to be facing.
I just a lot of that's inference too, and I say this especially as somebody that works with a lot of autistic people. You can't always go by that because sometimes our gaze is people are reading their neurotypical interpretations into it, and
I
it's
think
not
that's-
always what it seems to be with us. I get
That's
accused
one
of
thing-
staring all the time, and I'm not.
Yeah, I don't stare. That's one thing I don't do is I don't stare at people because in New York,
I look at people.
You look at them. You glance.
Like if
at people.
someone's talking to me, I'm gonna
Yeah.
look at them
No,
while they
no,
talk, but I'm not staring at them.
but to stare at people, Malika, in Italian, some Malikas, you're asking for it. You're asking for it. But if you
Really?
stare at somebody in certain cultures, it's almost like a sign of a threat.
That's why I'm
just
scared to
telling
leave
you.
the country. What do you do with those people? Like just look away when you're talking to them?
You just glance. You glance and smile. That's it. You glance, smile.
I can't not look at someone when I talk. That just feels weird.
This is the best thing I do. This is what I do when I meet anybody. I always go like this. I always put my hand up. Hey, how you doing? Hey, everybody. I greet everybody, and I'll glance, but I'm not going to stare at them with an evil tone. But I'm telling you, Jeff, you talk about mirroring people's pain. People mirror their pain on you, which is excellent.
Hold up, sir. Did you just tell me not to look at you in that tone of voice?
I know, I was thinking the same thing, an eye tone.
You said
because you
not
talk
that
about the
tone.
tone scale, so there's like a
Well,
visual version of that with eyes.
I'm just
Let
joking, bro.
me break this down. So I'll break this down. So Cajun Sasquatch's beard is in charge of the
Cajun
there's no doubt about it. That beard is in charge. No, it just
I think that background is in charge.
look at someone with a calm, loving tone. If that makes sense. All right.
How do you know? What are tone like?
You're losing us on the tone, bro.
Can you demonstrate a loving tone?
Yeah, no problem. So I look at you guys like this.
That looks like crazy eyes.
I found a strange.
But if I look at you like this,
that looks like you're mocking us.
I'm not mocking you.
Like
I
you're
feel
having a laugh at our expense.
I feel comfortable. I feel at home. I feel like no one's, like it's a different feeling, but like when you're looking at someone like, like you want to rip them apart, then of course they're going to be apprehensive. They're going to be offensive. They're going to want me like, yo, what the fuck?
I am a thug on these streets. I have to give them the animal, son of that dog. When I'm sorry, dude. It's just
Man, is there a way to learn all this? I'm fascinated with. I didn't even know. I know facial expressions, but I didn't like the eye expressions.
So if I come into a situation, you have to raise your voice. You have to elevate your voice, elevate your tone, and give them a look of superiority. In that situation. But if you come into a situation where you're just very chill, you're very chillaxed, you're just like, hey, yeah, and you smile, you give them a little smile, a little laugh, people will relax. They'll relax because they don't see you as a threat. And I think a lot of people will come up, as they say, firing hot. People will come up on panels or come at you in life and you're like, you're going to automatically go in defense mode, right?
But see, people misread that shit. Not Laz, not all the time. People are constantly misreading my body language, and like mostly in a negative way. And I have to constantly explain to them, no, I'm not angry. No, I'm not staring. No, I'm not depressed. And they never believe me because they go off of their visual interpretation.
Yeah. I have resting bitch face. If I'm not actively thinking about something, I just kind of do this weird grumpy looking face. It's just because I'm thinking. It's like the cat's purr. It just means I'm working on all 8 cylinders. That's all. I'm not mad. I'm not upset. I'm not
much of that.
Swinging, but I'll be sitting there like with this grumpy kind of look on my face, and somebody will be like, "Hey, you all right, man?" I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, bro. Here you go. Have some Sasquatch.
I think Sasquatch, that goes back to, and people don't believe me, but I do believe, and I think Jeff does agree on one thing that I've ever said. I think people's tones do dictate the conversation between two people. If you come at somebody very respectfully, calmly, you can have a conversation. But if you come in and you're just like disrespecting somebody, come in hot, with an elevated tone, people shut down. That's all I'm trying to say, brothers. People shut down and they don't want to explore.
I don't.
How can we fix this? Now, Jeff comes in and Jeff will get, and I'm going to go quick read. Jeff gets upset at disrespect, but he does it in a way of an educational way. And that's the difference. It's not cussing at people. I've never heard Jeff curse at anybody. I've never heard him put someone down, but he's going to stand up for himself. And I think that's the difference between other people that come up and just start cursing at somebody, talking about their family. That's somebody who needs mental help, because they're going so low that they're basically destroying any argument that they have. If that makes sense, Sean, please.
Oh, you talking about when they come up and talk about it? Yeah, but that's just somebody trying to damage the other person.
But
like,
when you
use
come up,
whatever
but Jeff, when
little
you get
tool they
upset,
can to hurt the person.
when you get upset and you raise your voice, it's for an educational basis. It's basically stating your facts and what you believe and what you think.
I hate people trying to control me or trying to run stupid bullshit, like gaslight me, like fuck with my reality. So those two things, it's like a war. It's like that when the animal like makes himself big and I get very that it is. It's a fury. It's a warning to that person that whatever you're doing, stop, because it's gonna escalate from here. So I think, and it's not conscious. That's just the automatic reaction I have every time.
It's self-reflection and your worth and what you're worth to yourself and everyone else. And we all love you, you know that. But like I said, people will come up and try to test you, try to put their toe in the water, and you have to sometimes elevate it and kind of let them know what your values are and what you're gonna expect and what you're not gonna allow. You know, but the thing is that but the whole point of what I'm trying to say is that this YouTube experience has taught me so much about myself and other people. It is educational. It is.
It can be. That's one thing I try to do here. What are they testing when you say they test people? What are they testing you for? Like, because when I come up on like a strange panel full of people I don't know, I'm not necessarily testing anybody. I'm just like jumping in the conversation and following wherever it goes and putting in my viewpoints and perspective. But I'm not necessarily testing each individual person. So what do you think? Is it like status, or they're testing the limits of their power, or what?
You or me.
Just anybody. Like you said, people do this testing thing.
Okay, no problem. So with me, what's up, brother? So with me, they try to get me to flip out because they know they can feel.
Oh, that's trolling. Like they're deliberately trying to provoke
they can
and see what they can get away with.
They can feel the lion in me. They feel, because I'm a lion. You've seen me rip people apart.
And I'm a
right?
scorpion.
But the thing with you is they're trying to get you to get off your game and change the way you feel. And what they're trying to do with you is they're trying to control you and tell you what to do to make you submissive. Now, you may be submissive.
So it's like a status thing.
Yes. You may be submissive in other parts of your personal life, and that is you. That's your prerogative. But the problem is that when they come on your panel, they show disrespect, and they're trying to change your narrative. They're trying to flip it to their narrative. You know, and I think you pick up on it. You're like a dog. You smell it. You smell it instantly. You know exactly what you're doing.
Hey, Zach, that's interesting. And hey, Dobez, welcome. What's up?
What's up, Dobez? When we were doing our show the other day, we were discussing how there are people on the panel burst that I refer to as panel killers and panel chillers. There are some people who show up with no purpose other than just to destroy the integrity and entertainment value of a panel. Meanwhile, there are others who show up just to yell over everybody and try to change the narrative from whatever the topic on the panel is over to whatever they're an expert at, so that they can sit around and try to dunk on everybody. And you kind of gotta pick and choose who you let up on screen when you're doing one of these panels, because it's easy to get soaked into something else.
Yeah, I have noticed that.
And Sasquatch, they'll come in packs too, right, brother? They'll come in packs. There'll be like 2 or 3 of them with the same exact narrative.
Well, I do want to hear from Dobez and check in with him. Okay. What's new with you?
Technically not much.
This is the quietest I've ever seen you.
Well, I'm respectful. There was a conversation. I didn't really know the topics. You know, I'm waiting until I get to grips with the main topic.
Well, the current topic is, it started out with reading body language, like reading eye tone of voice, and then people testing other people through these little nonverbal ways. And I was trying to figure out what they're testing for. Like, what is it people are testing for nonverbally when they do this kind of stuff? And so it led into a conversation of people trying to figure out status and dominate social groups and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a bit cynical to think that's what it always is, but that's for the most part. Like, there's always this game of status and power in most conversations between two people because they want to see where are the borders, where are the limits between it, like where is the separation, and how far can I go without them leaving, or how far do I need to go for them to leave? You always have these drives in you, and so of course you test. You find the boundaries of not just yourself but also the other person. And you see, do I want to push him? Can I push him? And that's not something you do consciously. Now, there's probably some sucker out there who's very conscious about it. Probably some really psychotic autist or something, whatever. But like, normally it's all subconscious for the most part.
Well, Dolbis, let me ask you one thing. In your opinion, do you think that they're self-mirroring their own pain? They're trying to put other people in pain because they hate their position. They're just pushing their hatred on someone else because it ease their pain. Isn't
that just baseline narcissism, though?
Yeah.
I mean,
yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Lilith, welcome.
Lilith, salute. Good to see you.
Let me go get a beer. I'll be right back. Let
okay.
young man
No drunk Brits, though. I don't know how drunk Romanians are. We'll find out.
well, if you're gonna allow me to get another beer.
Hang on. Let me hear. Go ahead. Oh, okay. I guess he's going.
No, I just wanted to say, they test you. They want to provoke you. They want to. It depends on the culture. I'm gonna take my turn. I'll wait for you guys to. I don't want to jump like last time. Last time I just jumped all over.
No, you're like one of the least dominating people on the panel so far. I wouldn't worry about that.
No, Lilith, keep talking. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what you have to say.
Well, no, but you guys asked the question for that young guy. So, young man, I'm much older than you. So why don't you just say your opinion while I go get a beer, okay?
Okay. Well, Dobez was gonna weigh in, I think.
Yeah, I do genuinely agree that to some extent it is their own sort of complexes projected onto others. But I also think to say that is all it is severely lacking. It's sort of the same thing they said with bullying. Bullies are, they're bullying you because they have it bad. Sometimes they're just bullies. They don't have to have it bad to be that. And a lot of people will just challenge you for the heck of it, not because they feel inferior or anything. Like, I think it's restrictive to view it as just that. At least in the bullying department, which kind of is similar to this. And that is one annoyance I've had with a lot of talk about this, is that you, instead of just realizing that some people just are like that, or at least they are fine with being like that without it having to come from some internal, reversal or whatever you might call it.
So, Dolbis, do you believe the analogy that some people are lions and some people are sheep? Like, some people just have the ways that they carry themselves. Do you believe in that?
In society?
Yes.
Or in society, of course. Are you kidding me, Jeff? And I know you have to be a wolf in sheep clothes, otherwise they're going to try to put you on a cross and fire from every door. Are you kidding me? You can not ever tell anybody your beliefs. You cannot. First of all, you cannot. There's a couple of things you cannot do in this life. You cannot do those things, and I'm guilty of doing them. I learned them the hard way. We'll never do them again. Don't tell them your plans. I told you I applied to a couple of jobs. I didn't tell you which jobs. You don't have that information. Don't maintain your if you are of if you're in a society like America belongs to Christianity. I'm sorry to say, but it's based on Christianity. Okay, so you can be atheist, you can be worshiping a chair, you can be looking at a chair saying that's my God. They will still put you down. They will still ostracize you. They will still try to get you fired. You're not part of us. The first thing you cannot do is show your true emotions. You have to fake your emotions. If you're crying,
then how do people get to know you?
Well, if
have to mask.
For me personally, if I deem that you are worthy of me getting to know you, I will be myself. In this panel, I've always been myself because I'm just a name on YouTube. You may have my picture and that's all you have about me, right? But in
Yeah, well, we
real
saw you a
life,
little bit, but
is scary. In real life is scary because people don't accept you. And like I said, they don't accept different cultures. I don't accept different cultures. You know what I don't accept? You guys gonna call me racist, probably gonna kick me out of this panel. I'll probably be out of here. First of all, I cannot see comments, so I apologize to the moderators, to everybody. I don't blame me if you kick me out of the panel.
well, this is a Nazi panel, so you're probably okay.
I am not a Nazi. I'm not a Nazi. I don't want to cry, but I was almost beat up. Like, and I'm a little girl. Like, I'm petite, and physically I'm not big. Okay, but I'm trying to go to the gym. I'm trying my best to get stronger. This Haitian girl from Haiti, Haitian woman, because I work in healthcare. That's already known. It's okay. It's okay to say where I work. I work in the healthcare field.
And the where?
Yeah. This Haitian
kind of
woman
field?
came on to me. She took steps towards me. I've been almost verbally assaulted. Eye contact that you rolling. These people have no manners whatsoever. You see, if I don't want to show much emotions, I'm pleasant. I will smile at you. I'll be nice to you. I'll never be mean to you. Okay? You will not know me, not know the real me, unless I get to know you.
So you're good at masking and then letting select people behind the mask.
Well, I mean, I would have to know you in person. First of all, you'd have to be my friend. You know, I can't be friends with people online. Is that a thing? I'm too old.
Well,
I'm
that's
Gen
what we're
X
trying to
like
figure
you.
out too.
I'm Gen X. I'm just as old as you. Probably.
But
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know who I can. Like, I have to open up first before I know not to open up.
That's a
You
good point.
can't do that. You can't do that. You got it backwards. You really got it backwards. Like, you should not be doing that. You need to find out who you are opening up to. Are you kidding? Are you being serious right now?
Being serious. Jeff is always
Yeah,
honest.
I'm
always.
horrible at masking.
Yeah.
But you have to.
I don't. I know. I get in trouble all the time, but it's just I have to find a way to live without the
Okay.
ability to do that.
Okay. You know, that's fine. That's okay. Maybe you just talking about online, like you are your true self. So you go to work and you tell people, "Hell, Satan." Would you go to work and tell
Yeah,
somebody?
I had my Satan shirts at work. I wore my antlers at work. Everything.
Well, good for you, because I would
And my
fire my
supervisor was a
department.
witch.
My supervisor, they're all from Haiti. They're all Haitians. I got fired from my job. I'm sorry to say, they're the most horrible people. I'm gonna say it out loud. They're the most horrible people. And I'm a foreigner myself. So you imagine living 16 years in Miami. I got to know all kinds of people from all over the world. I've never, when I started working in healthcare, because I was in healthcare before, I was doing security and other things. When I started working in healthcare and I was surrounded by them, and every step I took, it was like I was walking on eggshells, because I didn't know how I'm upsetting these people. What do I do wrong to them? I get called in manager's office because, you looked the wrong way. You looked the wrong. No, not even look. You didn't respond to them immediately, or you asked the CNA to do something for you. I'm higher than a CNA. If that gives you any
What's a CNA?
inkling.
Oh, nurse's assistant.
No, I'm higher than that. I don't do that. So just asking them to do their job was too much for them to do that. Do you understand? So it's basically a battle. These people need to check their outbringing, because I came from Romania, a broken person too. People are broken. They come from abroad broken, okay? This country is healing to a point, but you have to assimilate. You have to, if you come here, Nobody's telling you don't speak your language. Nobody's telling you don't do whatever the heck you're doing in your country. Nobody's telling you what food to eat. Nobody's telling you anything except to be a decent person. And like I said, only emotions are high. If I'm upset, I don't show it. I don't show me being upset. I don't show me being sad.
I want people to
I
know.
don't show me being sad. I don't show those things. I just smile. Okay, next time I might. Sorry.
I think it's really healthy to show your emotions. I think it's good to cry in front of people. I think it's good to share your experiences. I think it's self-healing. I mean,
So sorry. Oh my God.
I will cry. If me and a stranger are having a conversation about something very deep and something very loving and something very close to my heart, I can cry in front of a stranger. I can. I cry at movies. If I watch a movie that is so moving,
if you want your boss, you'd cry of your boss.
that is showing that you are accepting your own emotions. To cry is to heal. You are accepting your emotions.
You guys live on Mars because I live on Earth. I don't know where you guys live right now. This is my
and a lot of it's cultural. Like different cultures have different relation to their emotions than others.
And it's funny
because my culture is very normal for people to show their emotions. We don't try to hide it.
So maybe I live in the wrong place. I live in Florida. I live in a messed up place. I need to get out of here.
It's funny because I'm extremely alpha. Like when I come into a room, everyone turns their head. I'm just saying, like in person. But I'm the first person to get on my knee and talk to someone about anything they need to talk about, and I'll cry with them. I'll hug them. I'll cry with them. We go to church. When the sermon moves me, we cry. If I watch a movie that's very, very touching to something in my personal life, I can shed tears. But I think it's healthy to do that. That's all I'm trying to say. I think it's healthy.
I think it's very healthy to cry.
Yeah.
I cry at Charlotte's Web still.
Mm-hmm. I was watching The Green Mile. The Green Mile with Tom Hanks and the big dude that got.
Was it Forrest Whitaker? Who was that?
No, that's he passed away. Michael Clark. Thomas Michael Clark?
Oh, he passed away?
He passed away a few years ago, yeah.
Oh. Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah, Michael Clark Duncan. Yeah, he passed away a few years ago.
Oh, okay.
But at the end when he had to be taken out and he was innocent, I cry because it's the injustice that we see every single day in life. It's just injustice, and it sucks.
I guess I got desensitized to that at some point. Like I can't go through life crying every time I see a Sally Struthers commercial.
I think maybe it ties into law enforcement. Maybe it ties into me seeing people get put away for something they didn't do. Maybe it ties into something from my childhood. But there's certain circumstances that I go through, movie-wise or show-wise, or even circumstances in life. Like I have compassion for people, even though I'm an a-hole on YouTube sometimes. I do care about people. And Jeff or Dolbez,
by far not the worst.
Sasquatch, if you were on the side of the road at 3 o'clock in the morning with a flat tire, I swear on everything, I would pull over and say, "Do you need some help?" And everyone else would just pass you by. Screw that guy. That's just my nature. That's all. A protector.
Yeah, I would help too.
That's why I'm Michael. That's why I'm Michael. That's why I'm a Christian, because I protect. I'm not saying that you wouldn't, Jeff. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's my nature. Yeah.
Welcome back, Lilith. And
I do recommend not calling yourself alpha though, because that sounds horribly cringe. And
alpha does? I'm an alpha sub. I'm considered that. I'm a sigma technically, but
I'm super alpha.
I'm an alpha sub.
I come into a situation and I take over. That's just my nature. I'm a Leo. That's just my nature. But at the same time,
I get your point, but
yeah.
Maybe this is the newer generation, but calling yourself alpha, sigma, beta, all that is like
I don't know. I'm in a chat.
Nobody wants to do
Somebody
that.
call me a gypsy.
Well, Dobez, we're not woke. We're old school. So it's a different mindset. That's all. We're just calling it like we see it. But I respect your opinion.
I mean,
completely.
regardless of what language we use, there is
Yeah.
like people do notice these hierarchies
Oh,
and
yeah,
who's like
sure.
more taking a leadership role, who's more holding back and kind of going along with the
Can I
flow.
say something? Somebody just called me a gypsy in the chat. I was just in the chat. Somebody just called me a gypsy.
Oh, call them a name back. What can you call them?
I am not a gypsy. Okay, you want me to put my camera on? First of all, 3% Romanian.
Rome. You're
Do
supposed
it.
to call them Rome now. I heard. I
Show
Now
understand.
us.
Romanians are coming. Hold
Lilith,
on, let
show
me.
us how beautiful you are. Show us.
No, you know you don't deserve it. You don't deserve any white. Okay, it was this guy. It was this young man. I think it was this guy.
Oh, is Andrew Tate ruining the word alpha for the rest of us? I mean, I go by. I don't care what if people
I am not a gypsy.
take
It
me
bothers
seriously as
because
alpha or not.
I
I'm
was
still gonna usually
raped by a
win in any
gypsy
encounter.
person in Romania. I was raped by them. That's
Yeah,
why I left the country when I was a
let's
little
switch the subject. Let's switch the subject.
Well, let's no.
Whoa.
I'll do the topics here.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't call me a gypsy. Call me an ugly old woman. Call me a witch. Call me whatever you want. I don't take offense. But don't call me. I am not.
I don't know if you can stop them though. Like people are gonna, especially if they know that's one of your buttons.
I'm not a gypsy.
Remember that movie? Remember that movie Snatch with Brad Pitt and the other guys, and they and they bought the caravan from the gypsies, and they had this weird language. I'm not saying you are, Liv. I'm not. That's not a stab at you, but it's a funny culture. It is a funny culture. They speak very strange.
One of my coworkers was gypsy, and she
Yeah.
goes by Rome, but she was telling me about their culture. I forgot what it's called, but they have this thing where they try to like get tricks. People that are not gypsies, they try to.
I'm leaving.
Okay, you're
Why are
welcome to
you
leave.
confusing gypsies with
I'm
Romanians?
talking about a coworker. I'm not even talking about you. So if you're gonna personalize that, that's on you. And you're a Satanist, and you're bothered by the word gypsy. You don't have the basic level resilience. I'm not here to. This is an unsafe space. I'm not here to protect anybody from words. This is a Gen X thing. If the word gypsy is hurting you, absolutely you should leave the panel. I don't intend to do a single thing about it. You can call them a name back. I'm not here to babysit children. This is a panel for psychologically mature adults that can handle their shit.
Psychologically mature adults, they're not. The gypsies from Romania and Eastern Europe, all of they have done to Romanians and to other countries.
You cut out.
All kinds of things, and this is a reality. This is a reality.
Okay, but it's not even the talk. Like that's not even what we were talking about. Mike was telling a story about a movie with some people and a van full of gypsies. I was telling a story about a coworker. So you're personalizing and problematizing things that have nothing to do with you and whatever your experience with gypsies were. Now, if you want to talk about yours and educate us about it, that's fine. But don't come and try to run my panel like a Karen and try to get us to do the panel a certain way just because of your personal complexes with the word.
Yeah.
Or we can talk about something else completely.
I think you're muted, Sasquatch.
It's an interesting culture. That's all. That's all we were saying. It's an interesting.
Yeah, that's
culture.
what I was about to say too. From working with this, she was telling me about some of the things, like some of the.
This goes back to that conversation about lions and sheep. Some people are victims, and some people simply refuse to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no sympathy. Y'all can call me cold-hearted, whatever. I don't care. I'm gonna say this. I have zero sympathy for the victim mindset. Actual victims, I have an immense amount of sympathy and compassion for. It's the victim mentality and the victim mindset where you're at the mercy of everything that other people around you do in your external environment, and you have no sense of your own power or agency.
Yeah, you determine what you decide. You will have to decide what you get offended by. And if
words give the power that you give them. So if the word gypsies bother you, it's because you are giving it the power to bother you.
Otherwise, these words are nothing more than wind through a knothole. They're no different from the wind blowing through a forest with nobody around to hear it.
I've never heard someone say "win through a knothole." I've never heard anyone say that.
It
That's
sounds
funny.
very wise.
But there's
Never
no
heard
difference. All right, let me put it this way: if a Nazi preaches in the forest and there's no one around to hear him, is it hate speech?
Understand?
I don't believe in hate speech. That's just the construct.
Me neither. I mean, I'm just making the point that there's no difference from that guy alone by the creek screaming obscenities at the sky versus the tree across the creek with a stiff wind blowing through a knothole going. Same thing. Same. There's no difference. There's no one around to offend. There's nothing to do.
You don't even do your homework, because if you had Googled the percentage of gypsies in Romania, you would have seen that they are.
But nobody can. That's not even what we're talking about. Why would we Google something we're not even talking about?
Why would you call me that? Why would you call me something that
Nobody's calling you gypsy. Mike was talking about a movie, and I was talking about a coworker who actually was a gypsy.
Not you. I'm done talking about the panel within the comments.
Oh, well, leave them alone. They're just trolling. Just leave them alone.
Don't read the messages. Just talk to us. Yeah, just don't worry about it.
We're
Talk
very
to-
nice people.
Talk to Dolbez. Talk to Dolbez. He's a young man who needs to learn.
Dolbez, what do you know about gypsies in Romania?
I know that they're not Romanians.
Oh, okay.
I also know that they're sometimes called Roma, which is why some people might mistake them.
Yeah.
And that, gypsies.
They adopted that name. They adopted that name because that was close.
Yeah, but the Romanians adopted it from the Romans.
But you just said
Romanians from Romans, from Italians, from the Roman Imperium. It had nothing to do with the gypsies. Gypsies are Indians from Punjab area.
I know.
Which, listen, I'll shut up. I'll shut up and I'll drink my beer. Jeff, hell, Satan, I'll be quiet.
Lilith, do you like?
I'll be quiet. I'm sorry.
Lilith, do you like Italians? Do you like Italian people?
Of course I do.
Awesome, thank you. I appreciate
it. I love everybody.
And we love Romania. We love Romania. We love Dracula. We love Dracula. We love Romania. So it's all love up here. All right.
Hey man, you say that in a funny fashion, but the reality is Vlad the Impaler made some amazing military decisions.
Romanians are not normal.
Dude,
they're not normal people.
That man sat in a literal forest of his victims in order to receive a delegation
We're
from
from lands of
right. That was Transylvania.
Everything in Romania, people, I can't even describe to you what you do to people so they won't come back as as vampires. Everything is witchcraft in Romania. Everything.
Just don't bite me, Lilith. Just don't bite me. But do you think the Sasquatch? Do you think the mongrels were the best fighting force to ever live?
Mongrels?
I don't know what a mongrel is.
Genghis Khan.
Oh,
Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan. That's a Mongol, not a mongrel. I thought you said mongrel.
It's my accent. Yeah. They said Genghis Khan killed so many people it changed the trajectory of the earth. They keyworded so many people. That's what they said.
No, that's not what they meant. What they meant was that not only did he eliminate so many males, but him and his sons impregnated so many females that it altered the ecological structure of our genome.
There you go.
And also because he killed so many people, so much less agriculture was happening, meaning you can see it in ice cores in Antarctica. If you dig out an ice core, you can see the exact moment like he killed so many people because there's so much less CO2 in the atmosphere. Or more, I guess. I don't remember which way it goes. You can literally see him. Even if you go a million years in the future, in the ice, you can see his presence because he killed so many people.
How many?
Oh,
It depends, like 40, 50 million, upwards of
Yeah.
100 million in indirect causes. Like, it depends on how you count. And
And
at
then
that point, we don't really have
there's a
real
couple of
numbers.
generational issues here because it wasn't just him. His sons all broke off with different kinates and run off and did the same thing. And so it's like there's a distinct line after this point. There's a reduction in carbon output, and then it slowly starts building up. And then there's multiple lines of this sons running around barking folks.
His lineage is probably the most deadly lineage in human history. You know, the amount of death they caused is immense.
I had a friend of mine. He did a mathematical thing in high school for like a thesis or something like that. It was kind of tongue in cheek, but when he looked into it, it actually kind of held a little bit of water. He said that Genghis Khan's lineage probably attributed to most of the deaths that have occurred since he was born because he fathered so many children and his children fathered so many children that there is a decent chance that the person that brought the Black Plague over was a descendant of Genghis Khan.
Tying that to him.
If Genghis Khan had so many kids, do you think Genghis Khan invented Viagra?
Did he have more than Father Abraham?
Can I ask you a question? So all these people who want to procreate so much, I love Elon Musk procreate like crazy. Okay, then you guys talked about Andrew. What's his name?
Andrew Tate.
He already fathered like I don't know, like 10 children, maybe more, maybe 30. I have no idea. It's just.
He has no kids.
Do you think that
has
there's
kids.
something wrong with these people?
He does.
He just keeps them out of the limelight. He doesn't want them in the public because he thinks it's bad for their, he wants to protect his family.
Andrew, did you know that Andrew Tate was a world champion kickboxer?
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. You're off to see
I have
Talcott.
family members who work for him in Romania.
You have any wisdom you want to leave us with before you go?
I have a Sasquatch Shills tonight for Jack Talcott.
Oh, right. Okay, I'm going to put Sasquatch's channel.
Yeah, it's a thing. Not wisdom, not really. I mean, don't be offended by things other people say. Also, you don't get to identify yourself. Other people do. Like, you never show up and have 5 friends who are like, oh, no, this guy's real good. He's the guy. He's the one. It's that asshole that hates you that goes over and goes, man, I really don't like that guy. That you get a more honest answer from. Because the people who like you, they expect you to hear about the fact that they've said something good about you. The people that hate you don't care what you hear.
So only have enemies.
How do you
Well, keep your friends close and your enemies closer, and make sure everybody's rich.
I don't.
Yes, that's what we try to
I
do.
think
We work it on
I
it.
believe that people who don't care about other people are very honest.
I thought, weren't you in the chat earlier saying how much you hate people and you wish half of them would disappear off the planet
No,
and
I said I wouldn't
only
mind.
the animals?
If you want a Thanos Snapple.
I said I wouldn't mind. I didn't say I wish. Did I ever say I wish? I said I wouldn't mind.
Oh, now we're going to split hairs. The implication is you would like when you say I don't mind. It might be a language.
I'm trying to
barrier.
work out the
That's
inconsistency.
Can we all agree on one thing? Can we all agree that Sasquatch has the sweetest beard on the internet? Can we all agree on one thing?
There's a lot of beard competition around.
There's a lot of beard competition.
We got Untrackable.
I'm going to join you soon. Just you wait. Soon I'm going to join the competition. Soon.
Dobas is working on his little Viking beard.
Dobas is going to put chia pet seeds on his chin. The chia pet. Chia. Chia pet.
Or maybe I'll just cut my hair and tape it on. Maybe you'll not notice.
It's my beard, not beard. I'm sorry. I apologize. Next.
Well, I will say the drunk Romanians are slightly better than the drunk Brits. So you have the edge there.
Why would you say that?
That's a compliment.
I know it's a compliment, but I don't believe you.
Well,
I think I
go watch the streams.
Viewers
can compare for themselves. I'm giving my opinion.
Have you ever met Welsh?
I think you're cutting out.
I'm cutting out right now.
Yeah, it's like coming every other word is coming in and out.
Okay, now I
might
can't
have
hear
lost you
anything at all.
completely.
I will add though, Brits are okay. Yeah, maybe we can error.
Yeah, I
Jeff,
think it's the connection.
Jeff, I want to hear your opinion about Satan. What do you think about Satan, Jeff?
I love him. I love Satan. Go ahead,
Which one?
Dobes.
Which Satan do you love? Do you love the one in the Crowley's book? Do you love the one in Anton LaVey? Do you
I
love?
love the one in Paradise Lost. And in the Christian mythology, Paradise Lost, William Blake, Percy Shelley.
It's very important. I think it's very important to understand that even as a Christian as I am, I'm not going to keep going in circles, but I was baptized Roman Catholic, became a Christian, switched.
That's a circle.
It's which is very, it's very the same. But I think without Satan, we wouldn't have Jesus. So it reflects each other. So it's a necessary evil. I think it's a necessary evil.
Satan is not evil.
Hang on, I want to hear.
Evil.
Dobes was talking about something. I want to hear him.
I've forgotten already. I'll be honest.
Was it about Viking beards?
Saying something because she was cutting off,
Yeah.
so to fill the.
So Dobes, it's about beard talk. Dobes, you should make a channel about beards, Viking beards. Just make like a whole channel about it. What do you think?
I think I need to grow it myself first. Do you trust a bald barber? Like, do you trust a bald barber? Like,
no, because you'll fall asleep and he'll shave your head. You'll feel like I just want to touch up, and you fall asleep and your hair's gone.
Yeah,
he's like, you look just like me.
Yeah, so why would you trust a beardless beard expert? I wouldn't.
Hey, look at that lady. Do I see some stubble there? Is there a little bit of stubble there on your chin?
Oh, she does look satanic.
A bit.
She makes a good Satanist.
Not that
hazy.
Sadly. Wait, right. Wait, did you say earlier you were baptized Christian and you became Catholic?
We've had this argument before. He does not consider Catholics Christian, and they're definitely a denomination of Christianity.
It's opposite, though. They are the continuation of original Christians.
Yeah, well, the Orthodox would...
If you want to talk about words, definitions, it should be opposite. Like, they are Christians, and the others are like Protestants.
Dobes, I've had this argument with him 4 or 5 times now because of something about confession. Because you can, if you're Catholic, you can go out and slaughter 100 people and go to confession, and then you're absolved and you get a free pass. So because of that, you're not Christian. Never mind that the religion is centered on the figure of Christ, and it has the God the Father, the Holy Spirit, all of the same mythology as every other Christian church, but for some reason it's not Christian because of confession.
I mean, they already had a church, what do you call church council in the early days, like define what is Christian, and again, it was all about the Trinity, like your definition of the Trinity or acceptance of it. Like everything else, that's the difference within Christianity, but Christianity itself is, to be a Christian is to believe in the Trinity, and that sort of. They did differ, but basically every modern branch of Christianity does follow the main.
I think it at least involves Christ, the figure of Christ.
Yeah, Christ, the Holy Spirit, and God, or Father.
Is it okay if I come back to the panel because something is wrong with my internet? I can.
Yeah, I'm wrapping up in about 20 minutes. So if you make it back before then.
I hear like every other word you're saying, like it's breaking up, like really bad.
Yeah, you're breaking up too, so just try that.
Appreciate it.
Oh, maybe I will read that as the passage tonight. I'm opening my fireside chats from hell in the evening with Bible passages. So maybe I'll do Mark 24 tonight. I love Mark. That's the one where Jesus sees all the demons.
But Dobes, I do believe in the Trinity. I do believe in the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. I believe in that. I just have a hard time believing in confession. That's just my only.
But that doesn't make Catholicism not a Christian denomination just because you have trouble believing in confession.
Yeah, I just think it's an easy way out. I think that God holds us to a higher standard. Like if we do egregious things, we're going to be judged. I just think you can't wash it away with some guy behind a shade. That was my only argument.
And that's not really how, I don't think Catholics would say that either. So I think it's a distortion of what Catholics actually believe.
Hypocritical hypocritical Christians in the whole world because I grew up Greek Orthodox and that's the fault of my mother. And I still love her. Even in her death, I loved my mom. I miss her. I respected her. Went to church with her. Ripped off my cross she bought for me. Ripped it off my chest because it was felt like it was burning me. You know what? I believe that I was born a Satanist. I believe I was born one. You cannot make a Satanist.
I say the same thing. They're born, not made.
Catholicism. Yes, Jeff. I know.
That's why I don't try to convert people. You can't convert.
You
You either are
can
one or you're not.
you cannot convert us. You can
Right.
take me and tie me up to a chair and do whatever the heck you want to me. I'm still you can make me naked. I'm still gonna be a Satanist. It doesn't matter the clothes I wear or the hair I wear or the nail
Yeah,
polish I
it's
wear.
like
That
a
doesn't no one
spiritual
makes me.
orientation.
It's inside. It's your soul. It's who you are. But as far as Catholic, with your confession, so you go and hurt somebody, and go, oh, I did this and that, can I still go to heaven, please? And the priest says, oh yeah, you can still go to heaven. This is so stupid. You guys are like Catholicism is the most stupid thing I've ever heard. I laugh at them. I went once and I felt bad because I don't want to laugh at any religion because like I said, I respect people's beliefs. I respect if you worship a wooden piece of something, I respect you. I said that's your choice. Okay? This is what this country offers us, the freedom of speech, freedom of religion, okay? But I laugh at you because it's funny to me. It's just funny. I just laugh.
You can
I don't
You
respect.
shouldn't laugh at anybody because you just said their beliefs are their beliefs, but you're laughing at their beliefs.
I laugh inside. I don't laugh in front of them.
Yeah. I believe in one thing. Yeah, I believe in one thing.
It's definitely Catholicism is scriptural.
Yeah.
I mean, we
and this
use
is
the Bible. We read the Bible. The priest does all the Catholic Mass. There's different sections of the Mass, and they do Bible readings at certain points of the Mass.
And
he bases his sermons on biblical stories.
I also wrestle with
catechism. Teaches it's like Bible study for Catholics.
And I think
the Catholic Bible growing up.
I think Christians are the most vicious people there are, and I don't know.
That seems generalizing, like about group, because viciousness happens on an individual level, and it can vary from individual to. We're all capable of being vicious. So to say one group makes you more vicious just because you're a member of a group.
Jeff, they look at animals as property. Don't you? Like you have to understand. They don't even appreciate. Most Christians that I know that I don't associate myself with. They go hunting, and not for food. I get it. If you hunt for food, eat the food that you hunt. They go and hunt for pleasure. Oh,
yeah, but I don't know that that's tied to their Christianity in particular. There's plenty of Christians that don't go hunt.
All over my Christians, they have things in common. But I started.
Look, we have a vicious atheist right here.
Yeah, so Lilith, the whole thing is that if you hunt, you should hunt for food, to eat it, to consume it. So when I hunt all the time. And anything I hunt, I consume. I consume it.
Yes, sir.
They make nice wall decorations too. Sometimes
I don't do that. I will never. My
nice
uncle had
accent piece.
My uncle had deer heads because we hunt, but I would never mount a head on a wall. I would never do that. That's disrespecting the animal.
Did you just say that? You want to mount an animal's head on a wall?
No, he said the opposite.
I would not. Okay, Lilith, if you want me to look, I'm trying to be cool. Like I said, you're reversing things. I'm not sure if you're intoxicated or what, but
she did. She did say her connection was going out, and you were going to leave and reset your connection. But the conversation's getting off track. I mainly want to hear from Dobes right now, and I might have to start backstaging to make that happen. Dobes, we got 15 minutes left. You get the majority of it.
I love how you're using me as an escape.
Oh, it's not an escape. I've been trying to hear you forever. This is like the second or third or fourth time that I've tried to give you your chance and get hijacked.
Yeah, well, I don't I don't see the need to argue all the time. If someone else wants to talk, I can just
Well,
stay silent.
I prefer
Other
your
times.
content to some of this other content because you bring high quality content, and that's what I'm trying to do here. So if I'm giving you the mic, it's for a reason, and it's not necessarily as a scapegoat or an excuse. It's because you are the content I prefer to hear because of the quality of it.
Okay.
And you don't have
How
to
about
speak, but that's my motivation for turning it over to you when I do. Not to mention, you've tried to talk several times and got cut off. So just from a courtesy point of view, I want you to have some of the oxygen of this conversation.
then? Thank you, Jeff. Have I been here since after the election? Have I told about what I did the election night?
No.
Okay.
Because we hung out here, and I don't think you were here.
Right, I may have been in the chat, I think, afterwards. Not that day. Either way, so that day, my friend down from my hometown, he arrived. Wait, before I continue, there's an echo.
Yeah,
I hear
look,
myself.
I'm gonna what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna let Lilith go. Lilith, do you have anything to say to close? And I'm gonna let Mike close, and then you and I are gonna have the rest of the panel. Mike, you have anything you want to close with?
No, just good. Have a good conversation. I'm sorry that I brought a problem, but no, have a great conversation.
No, it's all
You
fun.
didn't bring
And,
problems. Not anything out of
It's
the
all good.
ordinary. You're
You
fine.
guys, Dolbez,
And I'll be
good to see
I'll probably do another fireside chat tonight, so I'll be back around.
Excellent. Hey, have a good conversation, guys. I always love coming up. I love talking to Jeff. So, in Dolbez, good luck in your studies. So
Thank you.
hopefully you're getting good grades. Take care, guys.
Okay, take care, Mike.
See ya, Mike. See ya. So where were I? Yeah, so I had a friend over. So we had planned this a long time. One of my friends, my friend group in high school was really diverse, but one of my friends who I had politics with, he was planning to come up here to meet me and stay here for a few days around the election. And so he did. He arrived with a train on the morning of the election. We wandered around, did our stuff, and we stayed up the entire night. And then instead of going to sleep, because Trump's victory speech was 9 a.m. in the morning, so we had stayed up for the entire night. Instead of going to sleep, we just stayed awake even more. We just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna do the normal day. And so I was awake in total, I think 37 hours because of that. But it was amazing. I loved it. It's the first actually exciting election because, well, the previous Norwegian election was the local elections, and those are just naturally not as interesting. And also the results were kind of given because our sort of left-wing party had already kind of collapsed. And so it's already given that the right would win. Whilst in America, it has, like, the Democrats haven't collapsed. So, like, what's happened in the Norwegian politics, if we talk in American language, is that the Democrats just like fell down to 30% on the polls. Like, it's already obvious who's going to win. Why did the color? Okay, but so that wasn't that exciting. But then this time it was so exciting. We were watching, like, in the living room on the TV, watching the numbers tick in and seeing how fucking slow you are at counting. My God, how inefficient
Some
is your
states.
system?
Some states.
Yeah. Florida was really fast, and that's where we really saw that. Okay, this might be a change because the percentage Trump won with was immense. But then, like, watching Pennsylvania start out when they opened the count at 73% Kamala, and then tick down 72%, 71%, 70%.
I know, I was sweating that one.
Every single percentage live as it went down. It was so exciting and stressful. Like, I understand why people enjoy this. I mean, it was
drama. We were nail biting for a while.
Yeah, and then when you watch the victory speech of Trump, like, we stayed up. So we already knew the results, like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. I don't know what it exactly was, but we decided, you know what, I'm going to stay up for Trump. And so we stayed up, and he was so stereotypical Trumpist, and it's amazing. Like, his rhetoric was perfect. Like, we even called out things he was going to say. Like, he's going to call this the greatest political movement or something, and the greatest political movement in history, I think. Like, we called out it. I love it. And the funny thing is that we were watching from the Norwegian news station, of course, because we want to see what our own country thinks of it. And they they were having like a quiet meltdown, trying to be really passive and really bipartisan and all that stuff. But you could see in their eyes that they were really losing hope as the days went by, because Norway is traditionally really Democrat supporting. But the guy on the ground who was in Florida near Mar-a-Lago, like he just got more and more giddy as time went on. So I think there's even an internal split in the newsroom that he was kind
Oh,
of
and they couldn't even hide it. Talking about body language earlier.
He was really giddy. He literally stood like electrified on the spot whilst waiting for Trump's caravan to come to the place he held his speech. And like when we noticed that Vivek and RFK were already, in the hall, in the audience, like, it was amazing. This is like television. It's like drama.
Did you experience the 2016 one, or was this your first like Trump
in
ride?
2016? I was young. I was 11, so no. And neither in the 2021, I didn't care as much, and I was also in my socialist era, so I didn't care. But then, the only three elections I really cared about was the Norwegian local elections in 2023, so last year, and the EU parliamentary elections that was this summer. But I didn't. The only one I actually, watched the whole election live stream and waiting for, that was the local elections, because that was through school. This is the first one I voluntarily just sat down, invited a friend over. And
this was a big one. This was a momentous historical one.
Yeah, it was. It's I'd say this might be the death of neoliberalism and neoconservatism. This is the beginning of a new era of America. Not necessarily that those die out completely, but I think the coming ideologies will be substantially
That's what we're hoping. I think identity politics is out. I think wokeness is on its way out, hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
I think the racism, white supremacy, patriarchy narrative is on its way out. The data just does not support that narrative anymore.
The exciting thing, though, that I find even more exciting is the ripple effect this will have on everything else, because most people, like most Europeans, even the right-wing Europeans, disagree with a lot that Americans do. Like, for example, the abortion issue. Like 99% of everyone will be on the Democrat side of that, at least to the most, like, a large extent. However, DOGE, Department of Governmental Efficiency, it's gaining a lot of traction in Europe. I think that might change stuff. And a lot of elections are going to happen in Europe the next year. It's like Norway will be next year. And I think we'll see a really big right-wing wave all across the West.
We kind of already are, like in Europe, some of those European elections.
Yeah, Italy has done. France almost.
Austria.
But, Austria, but like Austria is minor. Come on, like Austria is not unimportant, but they aren't actually a big player. However, there's actually 3 events that are related to this that I think are concerning, and that I know you'll find concerning. So, in France, the leader for you could say I don't like using the words far right, but that's like the easiest explanation. The leader of the far right party, Marie Le Pen, she is now. Yeah. Like, there's now legal actions against her. Her opponents are trying to arrest her, call legal actions against her. And so that's one thing, the establishment is not really happy with this right-wing wave. And then in Italy, the Supreme Court prevented policies of deportation, I believe, that Giorgia Meloni, the prime minister, where's the president? The prime minister of Italy, who's also, right-wing. And so already they're being prevented from the establishment in enacting stuff in Italy and in becoming more powerful in France. And in Germany, there's already a bill in the German Congress to ban of the Alternative für Deutschland, Alternative for Germany, the far-right party there. Like, they're thinking about banning it. I believe it's now the second or third biggest party in the country with like 20% voters. And they're considering banning it, which is very concerning, I'd say. When the establishment, we're gonna defend democracy. This is a danger to democracy. Let's ban the second biggest party in the country. Like, when that happens, it's a big problem. So I think we might reach a boiling point, and I think America got on the right side. You were lucky. You succeeded winning over the establishment, you could say. But in Europe, that battle is not done yet.
Fatty, that is you talking about? Hang on. That's the Jerusalem cross. It's a Christian symbol. Is that what you're calling white supremacy? This thing? You're propaganda brained again.
Doesn't he also have Deus Vult on his bicep? Like that's not really Jewish at all.
Yeah, it's what the left does. They take the video I opened with about how you fit facts into story. They take existing facts and they fit it into their own distorted narrative of it.
Yeah,
because they need him to be a white supremacist and not just a Christian with Christian tattoos.
And you know what's sad? Again, I'm gonna blabber as a European. I'm European biased. I'm gonna talk about Europe. I hope no Americans in chat are offended by me doing this. But the sad thing is that the majority of the news and public media in Europe is primarily Democrat, and so this whole, you could say, propaganda campaign from the American left, that is taken as the standard in Europe. That's sort of the difference. In America, you at least have an opposition, and people know that these medias are, this is Democrat media, this is Republican media. But in Europe, basically all the media comes from the Democrats, and so you can't really, you see that as the standard, how it is and everything. And it's really funny, this demonizing of Trump, and how even people here are so concerned about our safety with Trump in charge. I mean, he was here for 4 years. And the biggest concern is from them is NATO and the Ukraine war. And I mean, do you really think America's going to abandon NATO? Like, even Trump isn't going to be able to do that. Do people think I'm right-wing? I'm a self-declared right-wing. I vote right-wing. Of course I'm right-wing. I'm just not... I don't know. I voted conservative right the previous election, and I mean actually conservative, not like American. So like the most far right party is the progressive right, and the more center right party is the conservative right. I know that's gonna fuck up your American brains that the progressive.
No, that makes sense because I associate progressives with the extremes.
Okay, good. So at least, but I am considering voting them next election because it would be really
the
funny
MAGA, the Norwegian MAGAs.
They are not MAGA. MAGA.
Mana, make Norway. Oh wait, man. I don't know. You MNAA, make Norway. Manga. The manga party.
Manga. No. They are not MAGA at all, because MAGA it's not actually super right wing to the extent that it has a lot of left policies as well. At least how we view it.
Norway does, or the MAGA does?
MAGA. And I mean, of course, Norway does. Like, no established party is against the welfare state. So even if you have the most far-right standard party in Norway, if on the policies they are supporting and they are fielding, they could be as right-wing as Republicans or Democrats, but fundamentally, underneath, they still support the welfare state, which is further left than basically any American mainstream party. So it's not as if the Norwegian right is not left wing.
So you think our MAGA is still one of the furthest right currently?
No and yes. Some policies, yes. If you look at the purely the policies they are fielding, then they would be pretty right. But if you look at the fundamental policies, then they would be very right, because MAGA isn't in support of a welfare state. At least it would be very funny if Trump comes out like, yeah, welfare state. But
and are you? Well, I don't think they're opposed to it. Are you considering the Republican Party MAGA? Like, they just released their platform. Is that the MAGA platform, or is MAGA a subset of? Well, it says in their platform, "Make America Great Again."
Yeah.
So
I'd say
is that
MAGA is,
the policies you're talking about that they're
yeah,
not
and
floating?
when I say MAGA, I mean basically I think you should use Trumpism instead, because well, you shouldn't use it instead, but that's sort of the same thing. Trumpism, MAGA. It's
So
this like the
are
dominant
is
ideology in the Republican.
GOP also that? Is the Republican Party itself identical to MAGA, identical to Trumpism?
Not identical, but the biggest sort of coalition inside Republicans, I'd say, are
Okay.
MAGA.
Because they released their platform, and
Yeah.
it's pretty sensible. It's basically Democrat policies from 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah, and I mean that's what I mean. Like MAGA took a lot of these labor policies since the Democrats abandoned.
But
the
listen to
workforce.
this: fight for and protect Social Security and Medicare with no cuts.
Yeah, it's not that extreme, which I think.
I don't
Why
like
it's
this.
funny.
This whole thing about they want to bring down the welfare state. That's not something I'm really familiar with as a fundamental Republican policy.
Yeah, I mean, no. Well, I don't think I ever said that. What I said is that they aren't in support of a welfare state. When I say welfare state, I mean that I don't think America has a welfare state. That we might argue about.
We have a safety net. I call it the safety net.
Yeah. But you don't have like a European scale welfare state.
No,
So
we're like
by-
like socialist, capitalistic mix blend.
Yeah. Yeah, you got some policies.
Well, I
there,
just
some
looked
not.
at their platform. I didn't see it, effigy. So if you have some links, I don't think they're going after. They might try to go after the Affordable Care Act. I don't think they're going to be successful, but I don't think they're going after SNAP or basic housing or basic welfare. I think it's in everybody's interest to keep that in place.
Yeah.
That's and even if some people are talking about it, I don't think that is a high priority for Republic. That is not the Republican agenda.
If I'm allowed to backtrack a bit, there's two questions in the chat I want to sort of go back and answer
just let me know.
properly. So the first from Joe, like, do people think I'm right wing? I never got to elaborate, but by Norwegian definitions, I'm definitely a right wing. But internationally, you can sort of. It depends on what side of me you ask. If you ask about my support of the welfare state, I'm probably more of a left wing. If you ask about the economy, more of a right wing. But like in Norway, definitely a right wing. But I'm not off the charts. I do sort of.
So an enlightened centrist.
No, because that implies an equivalence between the two sides, and that there is a generally equal distribution between them, which it's not. But I'm not a right wing in support of any of the minor right wing parties, because you have like 2 or 3 really tiny right wing parties, 0.5%, 1%, that are basically imported from America. Like we have an imported party that's all Democrats, all Republicans, and even a tiny MAGA movement. But those aren't really big. There's 2 traditional right-wing parties and then 1 centrist party. And those 3, I kind of take a bit from all of them. So to some extent, I'm sort of more to the right, others more to the left. But internationally, I could be called a left wing, depending on what you ask me. And then the second question.
We could be Moose. And let's stream it tomorrow. We can have our discussions from the sub. Yeah, well, that sounds like enlightened centrism to me. But what was the other question?
Oh yeah, was
Norway ever great?
Yes. Short answer, yes. Long answer, yes, multiple times. But if we're gonna limit it to not, to actual post World War II, because if we're talking about Norway, remember this country was founded over 1,000 years ago. Like it doesn't really do anything for me to discuss. Oh, Norwegian greatness in the 1200s. Oh, I'm so like that's just pathetic. That's not what people want. That's not what people mean. Like you're trying to bring back your greatness from 800 years ago. But like if we talk about the modern context, we have been great a few times, right? We rebuilt quite well from World War II, and that's the foundation of our modern welfare state and nation state. So that was definitely a period of greatness, you could say. And then it, as always happens with socialism, it's good policies and bad policies stagnate, and the economy gets worse. Wages stop rising as fast, and so it gets really, really slow and inefficient. And so we had a right-wing revival, sort of around the same time as Thatcher in Britain and Reagan in America, which you could say sparked the second great age. But then the one that's most dear to my heart is basically 2000 until COVID. Like 2000 until COVID, that's probably the most golden age that we have ever been, because that's when the economy was functioning efficiently. People were born, more jobs were created, people were getting more educated, things became more affordable, our currency got stronger and stronger. Everything just got really good. And then COVID happened, and then the recession, and then everything, and we haven't recovered. Like, the currency now is half the value it was 10 years ago. Our currency has halved in value. Everything has gone up by like 30% in price. Some things 40%. Everything is just more expensive. Norway was great right before COVID. We were like really strong. If you're just a normal high school teacher and you work and your partner works in the government, you have 3 kids, you can afford having 2 cars, a cabin, a big house, and you can afford going on 2 or 3 vacations abroad with flight and hotels and everything for a few weeks every single year, with basically no impact on your economic security. In addition, you can build a pool, you can expand everything. Like, that's sort of the actual height of economy we had. And now it's people people aren't even able to have the same things. Like, no vacations, everything is much more expensive. You got to buy the cheap brand foods now, and you can't have as many cars. You're probably got to sell the cabin, which is a real shame, because that's a big investment. And Norway has a very specific cabin culture. Like, everyone, basically, like 30-40% of the population had a second home. Like, they own 2 houses, basically. That's sort of the standard. And everything's fallen. I know. It may sound like, oh, boo-hoo, you went from being very wealthy to still being wealthy. But like, a fall is a fall. I know, like, on paper, in real terms, being poor is horrible. And sure, we're still a rich country, but we have fallen. And so we are not great anymore. And there's definitely the young generation is feeling this, and there's definitely gonna be a revival. I hope we can manage, because another issue is that the way we set up the oil fund, or the way we handle our oil wealth, we did it very specifically to avoid the Dutch disease. If you know what that is, basically, you discover a really lucrative natural resource and you exploit it and you develop it, and it becomes everything in your economy. It's the only thing that drives your economy. You're addicted to that resource. Like, the Dutch did that with oil, hence it's called the Dutch disease. And so when we discovered oil reserves of that magnitude, we were very specific about how we did it. And so we pumped the money from that into the stock market, basically. And so we have saved up $1 trillion of value. Like, if you divide the entire wealth fund for each citizen, every single citizen could get about $300,000.
Damn. So it sounds like Norway was once great and still may be.
Yeah, well, yeah. By certain definitions, we're still great. However, what I was going to get at is that fund, the government is very restricted in how we can use it, and the people have no access to it at all. It's just money out there that we can't really touch, and that's there for crisis situations. But the Norwegian government can use about 3% of it annually. And in the beginning, that's fine. You just get a bit more money into the system. We can grow a bit faster. But now it's to the point that 30% of all government expenditures have to be covered by the oil money, basically. Like, we've become addicted to it, and so our private sector is really underperforming immensely, and due to insane tax laws and the rapid change of tax laws and the actual idiocy of our government, like, our currency is horrible because nobody wants to invest there, and we also, did a classic neoliberal policy of printing a lot of money during COVID. That didn't really help, and so a lot of our value has just been slashed. And so an example is that if I was a student in 2019, I would be so much richer, because in Norway, each student gets a loan from the government, and part of that stipend, most countries have that, but that loan was pretty decent. You could comfortably survive on just that, and it has usually been adjusted together with inflation. So as inflation has risen, it has as well, and so the relative value you receive has stayed the same. But it hasn't. That fund hasn't been changed and touched since before COVID, but everything else has. So in real terms, my situation right now is about 30-40% worse than a student 5 years ago. Just in 5 years, my situation is 40% worse, purely economically, in addition to everything else. We were gonna go on for my 18th birthday. We're gonna go on an America trip. 4 or 5 week vacation to America. We had planned. That was always the talk. For my 18th birthday, before I move out, we're gonna visit America, and that's gonna be a long, nice trip. We're gonna plan it and everything. And then, of course, COVID happens, recession and everything, and now those plans are gone. And there's this whole sense of the dream being lost. You can probably compare it to America in like the 80s, 90s, your economic golden era or whatever, and then you fell off. So many middle class people now are struggling. Norway sort of experienced the same, but it's much more recent. Our sort of middle class gold age was.
I think we're experiencing it now too, as America.
Yeah.
Maybe even worse than the 80s. Well, do you have anything you want to leave us with? I'm going to wrap up for the day.
I'm going to leave it with some optimism and a call for change, perhaps.
Some hope.
So, yeah, sure, but based on real facts. Western civilization has endured more. We have faced worse collapses. We've faced much worse. We've always bounced back as long as we actually stand firm to who we are. That way of being has proven itself to generate immense wealth and well-being all throughout history. We bounced back from the 30 Years' War. We bounced back from Napoleon. We bounced back from World War I, from World War II. We bounced back from everything. So I don't see any reason we
you're one of the few non-black pilled people in this medium, I believe. Very refreshing.
Yeah. But that also takes effort, though. I think we're gonna succeed. I
think we'll be fine. Now we are entering a period of chaos, so there's no telling. I would say adjust your expectations accordingly, but more than that, I would say don't even have expectations right now and just wait to see what happens.
Yeah. So I hope everything goes fine. I hope we will become rich again. Preferably.
And even if it doesn't, we're gonna have fun doing it, or at least I am. So keep coming back.
I'd prefer the fun to happen when I'm a bit more financially secure. I don't like the idea of having to move back in with my parents. That doesn't sound fun, and that sounds humiliating. Please wait.
Well, even if you have to do that, I'm sure you could still find a way to make that fun.
Oh yeah, I can, and you do what you do. Chaos is a ladder, as Peter Baelish says, and we have to decide to climb that ladder. Peter Baelish is a fictional character.
I think there'll be plenty of ladders to climb the next 4 years.
Yeah.
Chutes and ladders. All right, Dobez, it was good to see you, and we'll catch you again.
Yeah. Goodbye, everyone.
How do you say bye in Norwegian?
It depends. I sometimes say bye-bye, just funny,
bye-bye.
American.
Is there there's no...
You can say hada,
hot.
Hada, Halbada. The funny thing, actually, the funny one is all dads. Actually, two things. Basically, if you want to see how a Norwegian says goodbye, just look at Midwesterns. You know, how they're non-verbal, you know, that, yeah, that's sort of goodbye, you know, you can say that.
Oh, I've
That's
never
sort of
seen that.
Germanic. You know, you just don't
Maybe I
say
don't hang
goodbye. you
around a
just-
lot of Germanics, I guess.
Okay, yeah. But then there's also a really funny one, which is a lot of Norwegian dads, when they're on the phone and they're saying goodbye, they say hi, which basically means hello, hello. They say hello once to open the call, and they say hello twice when they.
That is weird.
Yeah, it's really weird,
Hi.
and it's only dads. Only dads. I don't know why, but it's really hilarious. Just dad saying hello twice to end the call. So I think that's what I'll do. So, hello, guys.
Hello, hello, hi, hi. And I'll say, girl, bye. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, yeah, I do have to say goodbye. We'll do it again. I'll probably be out tonight for a little fireside chat from hell. And if you don't catch that, I'll be here tomorrow, same time, same place. Again, hell. Okay, take care. Have a good rest of your day, and see you later.